What is up everyone, and welcome to some more F1 22 My Team career mode. This time we're going to be at the Belgian Grand Prix, and it is one of my favourite tracks on the F1 calendar, both in real life and in the game. But first we have to do an Ask the Drivers feature, and the first thing they're asking us is what has changed the most this season. It really doesn't matter what you say. I just pick aero because it gives me a little bit of driver acclaim. I think maybe tyres would give you more, I don't know, we'll find out next time. And then who's my hero? It's going to be Lewis Hamilton. If it's either Lewis Hamilton or Sebastian Vettel, the answer is definitely Lewis Hamilton. And that is also true to life, you know. The driver I remember watching growing up was always Hamilton, and thinking, oh, man, that guy is amazing. So yeah. But more on the Belgian Grand Prix. First season we had a DNF here, but we were running pretty well. I think we were running in the points, and could have had a points finish if our car hadn't broken down. Second season, I think we had something similar. We were running in a very strong position. It was like P4, P5, something like that. And then our car broke down a few laps from the end. And then last season, after having a poor qualifying, I think we qualified 11th. We worked our way back up in the rain to, I think it was P5 in the end. So despite not having the greatest run of results here, I'd call this one of my stronger circuits, and I'm looking forward to seeing what we can do now we've got a somewhat competitive car. As always, everything starts with the practice session, and it's right to get on the front foot. We're going to check to see if any engine components are worth replacing. I do debate replacing the MG UK because it's starting to get a tiny bit worn, but I think maybe it can do one more race weekend. It doesn't really matter. I could have replaced it by now because we've still got 2 more to last us 9 races. So yeah, I don't think it would have been the end of the world. But yeah, it's a wet practice session to start things off. I think the race itself is actually going to stay dry, so yeah, practice in the wet maybe not super essential, but you know, I'll go out for a few runs anyway, and we'll see what we're capable of doing, and hopefully we'll be able to show some pace. We ended up not doing any runs on the inters. We were only doing runs on the wets, so it looks bad, but honestly I think it was okay. In the wet we were looking fairly strong. Pourchaire being fastest by almost a second on the inters is encouraging, to say the least. And yeah, hopefully that's a sign of things to come for the weekend. If we can get 2 drivers on the podium, that would be absolutely amazing. But you know, there's still a lot that we've got to get through before we can think about who's going to be on the podium. Obviously, Pourchaire's having a good run of form at the moment. We're not too far away from being able to afford that final pace upgrade in the personnel facility, and that is going to make Pourchaire absolutely rapido. I'm honestly thinking more and more about it. I'm thinking about delaying it until towards the end of the season, maybe at the end of the season. We'll put that one on, and we'll try and get all the other personnel upgrades on the car first. For the simple fact that I am slightly afraid that if Pourchaire has supreme pace, it could knock me out of championship contention. Obviously, I'd still only have to be racing with Leclerc. But, you know, we're what, 27 points down on Leclerc at the moment? So, you know, if we're finishing second in every race and Leclerc's finishing third, that's going to be, we're only gaining 3 points per race on him, as opposed to if we were finishing first and second, we'd be gaining 7 points per race on him. So it seems like a no-brainer, at least until we've closed the gap somewhat to him. I want to keep Pourchaire sort of a little bit further behind me, but if we suddenly move back in contention with the Ferraris and we have a chance to maybe snatch the Constructors' Championship away from them, that's when maybe I'll employ that pace upgrade instead. But we're only like a race or 2 away probably from being able to buy that upgrade, so this turnaround, quote unquote, that we could be facing is going to have to come thick and fast. We made it through Q1 fastest with no real issues. Now we're into Q2, and we're on a used set of softs to kick things off, and we do a pretty good lap, all things considered. It's a 142.6 on a used set of softs, which around Belgium they wear out very quickly. You know, they decay by about 5/10 per lap every single lap, so it's not really much of a surprise that on our second flying lap on a set of fresh softs we improved by about a second. And yeah, I think that's going to comfortably see us through with a 141.6, and yeah, once again we go through fastest. So that's a good omen, right? We've come first in Q1, first in Q2. Can we do the triple? Let's find out as we come into Q3, and now we're going to try and see if we can stick it on pole. Again, we're going to go on a used set of softs to begin with. It's good enough for a 142.5. It's about what we did last time, so I want to see about a second improvement again if we're going to get that elusive pole position. You can see I'm 9 tenths up as we come through to the final sector now, and things are looking good. We're 6 tenths up on Russell in 5th, but we do need an improvement. It looks like Pourchaire is only going to be good enough for 8th, which is a bit disappointing given the pace that he was showing earlier in the weekend. But, I mean, that's okay. Hopefully he can just make up a few places during the race or something like that. Come through the bus stop chicane, find a few corners. Looks like we're going to improve by about 1 second or so. Maybe 1.1, something like that. And in the end, it's good enough for a 141.3. We just snuck in there, 397. And it's good enough for another pole. We're absolutely cleaning house right now. You know, we had a pole and a win in France. We had a win in Austria. And now we've got pole here in Belgium as well. We are looking very strong in this phase of the season. Leclerc will be starting directly behind me, so that's something I'm going to have to worry about. But yeah, seeing Pourchaire there in P8, I'm hoping that he can get himself into the mix. I'm assuming he just didn't do a faster lap. Maybe he made a mistake on his second lap or something like that. But yeah, very happy to get that pole position, and hopefully we can challenge with that. It's very encouraging to see that's the case. And yeah, maybe that won't translate into race pace, because it doesn't always. Sometimes I've got pole and I've still been under immense pressure from the cars behind. But usually if I can make it to the pit stop phase, in the second phase of the race, I'm faster than whoever's behind me. So we're going to hope that rings true on this occasion, and yeah, hope that we can just hold off the cars behind until we get to the pit stop phase. But yeah, there's a lot to think about before then. You know, we obviously got to get a good start and all those kinds of things. I think if we win this race and we get fastest lap, we move within 19 points of Leclerc, which is, you know, still a bit of a deficit to overcome, but it's not the end of the world. And now it's time for us to get into the race.
That gave us the maiden victory for the Jordan team back in 1998. And in the same team, the phenomenal debut of a young Michael Schumacher. There's always something special just around one of the many corners of this fan-favourite circuit. Spa-Francorchamps then, a historic 19-corner circuit with a lap distance of 4.35 miles. There's over 100 metres of elevation change here, and with long stretches of the lap spent flat out, a good top speed will be vital for success. Before we begin, let's take a quick look at the grid lineup for today's race. Robinson lines up on pole position, and it's Charles Leclerc in P2. Moving on to the rest of the grid, we have Sainz, Gasly, Lando Norris, and Verstappen, Théo Pourchaire, Perez, Ocon, and Fernando Alonso, Ricciardo, Zhou, Christian Lundgaard, and Albon, Russell, they've taken a grid penalty, Oscar Piastri, Mick Schumacher, and Robert Schwartzman, Stroll, Magnussen, Latifi, and Yuki Tsunoda. It's almost time for the lights to go out, so let's head down to the track where preparations are underway. Anthony Davidson joins me once again in the commentary box, and it's fantastic to have you with us here, but I'm curious, as a man with experience out on the track, how do you stop those pre-race nerves from becoming overwhelming when you're lining up on the grid?
Well, I imagine they'll be starting to feel the adrenaline as they anticipate the rundown into turn one, a bit like preparing to go into battle. The unknown situation will bring nerves, but that's a good thing. It will keep them focused on the moment and on their surroundings as we build towards the start of the Grand Prix.
Okay, here we go. I know what you can do. Don't let me down.
We didn't do any dry running, so there's no alternative strategy for us to do today. It's just going to be 11 on the softs, or 11 on the mediums rather, followed by 11 on the hards. I think that's honestly the play here, based on how fast the softs were going off. I think it's wise to say that we probably wouldn't have had any performance on the softs after a few laps. I definitely don't think soft medium or even soft hard was likely to be possible here, but medium hard is a bit more likely. Lining up on the grid now, we get a pretty good parking. and now we're going to get ready for the lights to go out, and yeah, hopefully we can get a good run down to turn 1. We're on the inside, which is really good, because sometimes when we're on the outside, the cars like to dive bomb. So yeah, it's pretty good to see, and hopefully, yeah, we can just get a good run. And the lights go out, and it's a pretty good start for us. We pull away from Leclerc initially. I'm trying to pull over to the outside of the track now to give myself a good run around turn 1, not compromise my line too much. We're going to absolutely burn the battery all the way down, and fortunately Sainz makes my job a little bit easier. If he wants his teammate to win the World Championship, he's not doing a very good job of it, because he held Leclerc up a significant amount there, and that's going to mean I'm not really under pressure from Leclerc as we come down the Kemmel Straight up Raidillon and whatnot. Yeah, we break away pretty easily there, honestly, and not too much I had to worry about on this occasion. So yeah, hoping that we can just continue to pull away from Leclerc and hope that things go okay. Mark is warning us about our MG UK, but that means it's only at 55%. I don't think it's going to wear out by 25% or by 20% over the course of the race, and yeah, we should be fine with that regard. We'll see what happens, but I'm not too concerned about that personally. Leclerc closing us up again as we come through Pouhon and the sort of final corners of the track. I think it's safe to say he's probably going to be a little bit faster through there than me, but hopefully in the places that we're fast, we can be very fast and pull away from him, so we're not under too much pressure in the straights and DRS zones and whatnot. I kind of count this area as a straight, even if it's not technically a straight, just because, you know, you can gain some significant straight line speed, and that is typically where the AI thrives. Any corner where you need traction or anything like that is going to be the place where they're going to be attacking us quite significantly. Is he going to go up the inside of the bus stop chicane here? No, I think we've gotten away with it for now. But I'm sure we're going to be under more pressure from him as the laps tick over. But for now, lap 1, we've held the lead, which is nice to see, and we'll see if we can continue doing that over the ensuing laps. We skip now ahead to the start of lap 4, and you can see that Leclerc has yet to make a move on us. He hasn't really made any effort to do so. He's just kind of been hanging around in that sort of 3 to 5 tenths gap that you see at the moment. We're going to speed things along a little bit and see what kind of inroads he can make, if any. You see once again he's kind of just hovering around that sort of time frame. I'm a little bit faster through a few of the corners that we just went through there, and that builds me a little bit of a gap, but not a massive one. We still have to be careful because he could close us up at any point. We're holding onto our battery pretty nicely at the moment. You can see I'm just burning it around the sort of end of the lap and the start of the lap, and that is enough for us to keep him at bay, just about. But you know, the more laps tick over, the more I'm worried I'm going to be under pressure from him. But yeah, I was just hoping that we could get to lap 11 when the pit stop phase comes with no real issues. Looking on board now, this is Pierre Gasly, and yeah, I think he's got some kind of mechanical issue, so that's going to be the end of his race. A few cars bunching up there, no accidents by the looks of things, but yeah, it's hard to tell exactly what's going to be happening there. But that's going to spell the end of his race, and yeah, you can see we were just coming through Pouhon as that happened, and yeah, the yellow flags came out. It doesn't look like there's going to be a safety car, but we won't know for certain until it says that he's out of the race. We're going to have a look. You can see Norris and Verstappen have made up that position. Gasly was honestly running in such a good position in P4, so it's a bit disappointing, but yeah, he's out. No safety car by the looks of things, but yeah, it's... oh wait, there is a safety car. Okay, so I don't know what that was. That was a weird one, considering the fact that, you know, he DNF'd and then it triggered the safety car. Oh, but it might be because Oscar Piastri is also out of the session. We're going to pit now to go onto a set of hards to the end, but Leclerc and Sainz are staying out, so this could be a real opportunity for us if they don't pit on the next lap. We could suddenly find ourselves in a great position. You know, if we can stick with the cars on the safety car restart, once they pit, we could be like 10-15 seconds ahead of them. So yeah, fingers crossed that's what's going to happen. The only other cars coming in at the moment are Alonso and I think Verstappen as well. So yeah, that's very encouraging. Let's see what happened to Oscar Piastri then. Did he crash into Gasly when Gasly was retiring? It seems unlikely because Gasly had already pulled off the track, so I don't know what happened. It looks like he just had a mechanical failure in basically the exact same spot that Pierre Gasly had one, which is bizarre to say the least. But yeah, I mean, to each his own, I guess. I don't really know why that happened. It looks like a gearbox failure, maybe. I haven't been seeing any smoke coming out of any of these cars, so I'm wondering if these are all gearbox related. But yeah, pretty weird. We come around through being behind the safety car now onto lap 7, and you see we're currently in P11, but all the cars in front of us are yet to stop. So yeah, once these guys stop, we should be in the net lead of the race. But we do want to try and make our way through this pack to make sure that we don't get held up too much, and that we can get into the lead. I was weaving a little bit there, and we almost got overtaken by Schumacher because he was given the go-ahead to overtake us because we were falling back a bit. And then we get the dreaded notification that there is an issue, which kind of, you know, that... what can you say in those moments? Every time they've said something like that, it's always been awful news. It's always been, yep, engine's blown up, sorry, GG, thank you very much.
Okay, it's not good news, I'm afraid. Seems like an engine issue.
But when I heard that, I audibly celebrated, because that meant that it's probably not going to be a mechanical failure. So yeah, that really saved my bacon. That's the first time that's happened, and yeah, there we go. The fault has now resolved itself, allegedly. So yeah, that's the first time this has happened in this entire career mode, I think, where we've had a warning and then it's been a false alarm. Pretty much every time I can remember that we've had a warning, it's always resulted in mechanical failure. So I was starting to lose hope that we were ever gonna have a moment like that, but fortunately we did. And now I'm going to try and get ahead of George Russell off the safety car restart. You can see that he pulls away with the traction a little bit, but we are going to dive up his inside. We go a little bit deep into the corner, and he's able to get the switchback on us. So no overtaking doing for now. We're going to have to be careful, because if we hold each other up too much, I'm going to fall off the lead to the point that that Leclerc can just come out and be in the lead again, or you know, whoever is in that position. But hopefully that won't be the case. You can see we're burning battery now down the Kemmel Straight. We're going to dive up the inside of Russell once again, and I think this time we're going to be able to make the move work. He keeps his foot in it though, and we're going to have to try and go around the outside through that chicane, but we do make it work, and we're up into P10, which will still be P1 at the moment once the pit stop phase has happened. And now we're going to try and get ahead of the likes of Lundgaard and the man whose seat he took, Zhou Guanyu. Actually, that's not true. No, it is true. But Zhou did a season at Haas before he came to Mercedes, which is why I was getting confused. We're now on the back of Lundgaard about this same time in the following lap, and we're going to try and do our favourite move that you might have seen me do on previous occasions, go around the outside through that hairpin, and we actually make it work. And now we're up into P9, which again doesn't really matter where we shake out. I just want to make up as many positions as I can now. I think Lundgaard was thinking about challenging me back into P1, but we managed to hold him back for the time being, and now we're going to try and catch up with Zhou Guanyu as quickly as we can. Looks like he might have some kind of issue maybe, because he's falling off the back of Ricciardo dramatically, and we're catching him quite quickly as well. And as we come to this corner, I think about going up the inside. That was a very, very illegal move. Definitely not okay. I'm lucky not to have any damage off the back of that, but we basically just boot him out of the way and say, yeah, I don't have time for your shenanigans, man. Yeah, that puts us up into P8. I can't believe we got away with that. Lap 11 now, you can see that we haven't really caught up with Ricciardo and Ocon too much, but it doesn't matter. They're all coming into the pits now, as is Verstappen, as is Leclerc. I guess it was Perez and Alonso that came into the pits at the same time as me then, and you can see that we're comfortably coming out ahead of them. In fact, we're not too far off the rest of the cars in front. We're only 3 seconds behind Porsche. So yeah, that could be really encouraging signs for us if we can get ahead of him here. You know, once these guys come into the pits, this is going to move us into the lead. We're going to see what the order shakes out as, but yeah, I guess we'll see what happens. Either way, we're going to be in the lead. I think Perez is going to move into P2, which is kind of insane given that he was behind us at the or he was behind a lot of cars. I think he was sort of like not even in the top 10 if I remember correctly. Neither was Alonso, and now they've moved into 3rd and 4th. Sainz has moved into, they moved into 2nd and 3rd. Sainz has moved into 4th, but he is being overtaken by Verstappen, who's moved up into 4th now. And yeah, that puts Sainz in 5th, which means Leclerc is in P6. That is astonishing to say that Leclerc is all the way down in P6 at the moment. And, I mean, how many points is that we're going to be gaining on him at the moment? 17? That's going to move us within 10 points of him in the championship. This is exactly the kind of point swing I was talking about earlier that would put us back in this championship with no real complaints. And yeah, we're just blitzing through. We're going to try and set some fast laps. Maybe we can try and take that fastest lap off of Verstappen and grab an extra point, which will move us to within 9 points of Charles Leclerc. That would be the closest that we've been in this championship since we had that DNF in Great Britain, which kind of screwed us a little bit. In fact, I'm pretty sure we were quite far behind that before then. Maybe more than that behind him, if I remember correctly, because he had a string of good results in Baku and Canada and Monaco. Actually, Monaco didn't go great for him, and Baku didn't go great for him either. So I don't know what I'm talking about there. But Canada and Britain were certainly the places where he recovered the most points to me. You can see Verstappen is still in the fastest lap position, but we're pushing quite hard on this lap to make it happen. It's Red Bull in the 2 and 3 positions at the moment. We're going to see if Sainz can get ahead of Alonso, his compatriot, before the end of the race. He's in a faster car and he's on fresher tyres, so realistically you'd think he'd be able to do it. But if there's anyone that's going to be difficult to overtake, it's going to be Fernando Alonso. We come round to the end of lap 19 now, and you can see it is good enough for us to set the fastest lap just about. We only improve on our own fastest lap by 2/10, so that can't be much faster than Verstappen's. So I might try and go for another fastest lap at some point. And as we move on to the final lap now, you can see that no one really challenged me again once we played that strategy blinder. In fact, we even managed to drop Verstappen and Alonso, who were on the same strategy as us, by a very significant amount, which, yeah, that was very encouraging to see. We're going to try and go for another fastest lap attempt here, but it's not going well at the moment as we're red to the first sector. But if we can improve through these final couple sectors, then we could be potentially looking at a fastest lap. We're a purple to the second sector, actually, so I don't know what I did there that was so fast, especially on, what is this, 16, 17 lap old tyres? Kind of incredible to think I'm still saying purple sectors in the most corner-heavy sector of the track. But yeah, we managed to get a purple sector nonetheless. And that could potentially mean we get fastest lap. It's going to be determined by the bus stop chicane and whatnot. It looks like we've done it pretty well. It is a fastest lap, and we take the victory. So yeah, very, very comfortable win. Maybe my most comfortable win of the season so far, and that moves us into only 9 points behind Charles Leclerc at this point. So if we can continue capitalising on that and making up more inroads on him, we might not be able to get ahead of him in this championship and potentially take my first championship in Formula One.
Well, I honestly feel it was down to the driver and car today. I mean, we can talk driver skill all day, but if you don't have a solid team to back that, you're never going to get anywhere. When you hit that sweet spot of having both an excellent driver and an incredible car, that's when you see results like those we witnessed today.
The faces on our top three look so incredibly happy as they make their way up to the podium. A much-deserved victory and a brilliant performance from them all.
Well, it's I don't even know what win number that is this season. It's our third win in the last 4 races. So is that win number 6 this season now? And I don't know anyone who's won 6 races in a championship and failed to win it. Maybe Sebastian Vettel in the Lewis Hamilton era. That's like the only time I could think that might actually work.
Our championship leader is still sat at the top of the standings, but their rivals have made up some solid ground today. So let's review the updated driver standings. Well, after an incredible day of racing, who was your driver of the day, Ant?
Well, you can't fault anything that Sergio Perez did out on the track today. He drove flawlessly, making him an easy pick.
It's time to see how things are shaping up in the Constructors' Championship. The lead at the top comes down after a strong weekend from the challenging pack. Well, that was certainly an exciting weekend of Formula One. Be sure to join us for more exciting Formula One action very soon.
So, we're only 53 points behind them in the Constructors, and we're only 9 points behind Leclerc in the Drivers' Championship as well. So, I honestly think double World Championships for Jaguar is not off the table right now. I'm going to make that bold prediction now, and for that reason, now that we've moved within range of Leclerc, if we have a good Dutch Grand Prix, maybe if we outperform Leclerc at the Dutch Grand Prix, I am going to put this pace upgrade on the car. I don't care if Porsche finishes ahead of me in every single race from now on. As long as we can finish ahead of Leclerc, I don't give a toss where anyone else finishes in this whole season. As long as we outscore Leclerc, that's all that matters. As long as we outscore Leclerc by a few points every single race, we are going to win this championship. And as long as we can outscore the Ferraris as well, we could very easily win this Constructors' Championship. I think we're looking stronger through this phase of the season. I'm trying to think what races are coming up. Zandvoort, obviously, I think is going to be a difficult one. Monza could go either way. Really depends on what the Ferraris are looking like at Monza. Then we got the Japanese Grand Prix. That could be a tough one. USA could also potentially be a tough one. But then we've got some really strong circuits to close out the season. We've got 4 circuits back to back to back to back, which I think I can do really well at. Mexico, I think I can do well at. Brazil, Portugal, I think will go well for me, and also Abu Dhabi typically. Now that they've got rid of all the corners I suck at, I think those will go particularly well. So we might have a few difficult races in the immediate future, but in the far future, I see no reason why we can't absolutely bring the fight to them. If we can get a couple strong results in the tracks that I might be a little bit weaker at, then this championship could very easily be ours. Leclerc still hasn't had a DNF this season as well, so we really kind of could be riding on that to swing the championship in our favour as well. Yeah, I think that there's a possibility. There's my illegal overtake on Joe again, but. Yeah, I really don't know which way this championship's going to go at this point. It could be either way. You know, I guess we'll just have to wait and see. Only 8 more races to go now. So yeah, it's really up in the air at the moment with only 9 points in the field. Porsche not making the inroads quite that I'd like in the Drivers' Championship, but it's okay, I guess. I'm just hoping that once I get that pace upgrade, then that will be his his sort of time to shine. I think there's no chance that Verstappen's going to outperform us in this rivalry now, unless we have all DNFs for the remainder of these next 3 races, which would kill our championship chances anyway. So yeah, fingers crossed that doesn't happen. We're actually very close to Team Acclaim level 25 now. We're Acclaim level 24, and once we get to Acclaim level 25, we can get one more sponsor on the car, which is going to massively boost the amount of money we're bringing in each week, which is cool because we've almost got all the upgrades we absolutely need. Like, once we get to Team Acclaim level 25, there's not really any more upgrades that we need after that point. But anyway, that's going to be it for this video. I hope you enjoyed. If you did, make sure you like and subscribe, and hopefully I'll see you in the next one.